For 1400 years, ancient Egypt was silent. Its pyramids, temples, and tombs stood as colossal monuments to a forgotten people, their triumphs and tragedies locked behind a code that no one on earth could break. The civilization of the pharaohs, a society of staggering genius, had left behind a library of their own history, written in beautiful, intricate symbols called hieroglyphs. But the knowledge of how to read them, the very voice of this ancient world, had vanished completely, seemingly lost to the sands of time. The secrets of the Sphinx, the stories of Karnak, the legacies buried in the Valley of the King's All were mute. For centuries, scholars, adventurers, and dreamers stared at these elaborate carvings, seeing only art, not language. They were looking at a history book written in a dead language, and the key had been thrown away. How could we ever hope to understand the minds that built these wonders if we could unread their words? The past was a closed door. Then, in the blistering summer of 1799, history took an unexpected turn. As Napoleon's army campaigned through Egypt, a group of French soldiers were tasked with reinforcing the defenses of a crumbling fort near the port town of Rosetta. During the excavation, a soldier named Pierre-Francois Bouchard struck something hard with his shovel. It wasn't just another rock. It was a large, broken slab of dark stone, covered in dense, strange inscriptions. At first glance, it might have seemed like just another ancient artifact, common in this history-rich land. But this stone was different. It bore not one, but 3 distinct blocks of writing. The soldier, recognizing its potential importance, immediately informed his superior. He had no way of knowing it at the time, but that simple act of digging a trench had just unearthed the single most important key to unlocking 3,000 years of Egyptian history. The silent civilization was about to get its voice back. The discovery of the Rosetta Stone sent shockwaves through the academic world. Here, on one single piece of rock, was a royal decree issued in Memphis, Egypt, in 196 BC. Crucially, it was inscribed in 3 scripts: the mysterious hieroglyphs at the top, a more common Egyptian script called Demotic in the middle, and at the very bottom, a language the world's scholars knew very well: ancient Greek. The Greek text was the anchor, the starting point. Since they could read it, they finally had a parallel text, a potential dictionary to decode the other 2. It was like finding a secret message with the cipher key attached. This wasn't just an academic puzzle. It became a matter of national pride, triggering a fierce, frantic intellectual race across Europe. Who would be the first to crack the code? The prize wasn't just fame, it was the glory of giving a voice to the pharaohs. The great race for decipherment quickly became a duel between 2 intellectual titans, a classic story of rivalry between Britain and France. On one side was Britain's Thomas Young. He wasn't a linguist by trade. He was a true polymath, a brilliant physicist known for his work on the nature of light, a physician, and an all-around genius who dabbled in everything. He approached the Rosetta Stone with a logician's mind, looking for patterns and mathematical certainties. On the other side was France's Jean-Francois Champollion. He was the polar opposite, a linguistic prodigy, a man singularly obsessed with ancient Egypt since he was a boy. He had learned multiple ancient languages, including Coptic, a late form of Egyptian, believing it would be the key. For Champollion, this wasn't just a puzzle, it was his life's destiny. The stage was set for a showdown that would captivate the intellectual world. Thomas Young, with his methodical approach, made the first crucial breakthrough. He focused on the oval shapes, known as cartouches, which he correctly guessed must contain the names of royalty, since they were set apart from the other text. By comparing a cartouche from the Rosetta Stone's hieroglyphs with the name Ptolemy found in the Greek text, he was able to assign phonetic values to some of the symbols within it. It was a monumental step forward. He proved that hieroglyphs were not purely symbolic pictures, as many had believed for centuries. Some of them represented sounds. However, Young's progress stalled there. He was convinced that phonetic signs were only used for foreign rulers' names like Ptolemy and Cleopatra, and that the rest of the language was purely symbolic. He had found a key, but he only managed to open the door a crack. The full code remained stubbornly elusive. The final, complete breakthrough fell to the passionate and obsessive Champollion. He had dedicated his entire life to this moment, convinced that the hieroglyphic system was far more complex and elegant than anyone, including Young, had imagined. He spent years poring over copies of inscriptions from the stone and other Egyptian monuments, his office overflowing with books, papers, and frantic notes. While Young saw a limited phonetic system, Champollion, with his deep knowledge of Coptic, suspected something more. He believed the system had to be a hybrid, a sophisticated mix of different types of signs. He knew the answer was close, a tantalizing whisper from the past, waiting for the right mind to finally hear it. Champollion's genius was in realizing the true nature of the script. It wasn't one system, it was 3 systems in one. Some hieroglyphs were indeed pictographic, representing a whole idea or object, like a picture of a sun disk to mean sun or day. Others were phonetic, representing sounds, just like the letters in our alphabet. And to make it even more complex, some signs could be both, depending on their context. His eureka moment came when he studied a cartouche that he knew did not contain a foreign name. It contained the symbols for Ra, the sun god, represented by a sun disk, followed by two other symbols. He knew the Coptic word for birth was Mes. Could the symbols spell out Ramesses, the name of the great pharaoh, Ramses? He quickly applied his theory to another name, Thutmose, and it worked again. The entire system clicked into place. In September of 1822, after years of relentless work, the code was finally broken. The legend of this moment is as dramatic as the discovery itself. After successfully translating Ramses, realizing he had unlocked the entire grammar and vocabulary of ancient Egypt, Champollion was utterly overwhelmed. He supposedly ran from his office to find his brother, who worked at a nearby institute, burst in, and yelled, "G10's Monofer, I've got it." And with that, he collapsed. The sheer mental and emotional exhaustion of his life's work catching up to him. He is said to have fainted, remaining in a state of collapse for the next 5 days. He had poured every ounce of his being into this single goal, and in one brilliant flash of insight, he had succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Champollion's discovery did so much more than just decipher a dead language. It breathed life back into a civilization that had been silent for over a millennium. For the first time, the inscriptions on temple walls and papyrus scrolls were no longer just beautiful decorations. They were stories, poems, laws, and letters. They were the voices of pharaohs, scribes, priests, and ordinary people, speaking to us across thousands of years. The discovery of a single broken stone by a French soldier gave us the key. But it was Champollion's genius that turned that key and opened the door. Thanks to them, a silent world could finally, at long last, tell its own incredible story. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the origins of our world. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time.